So hello, my name is Zhu Pinyan. I'm a PhD student at the University of Kansas. I work with Professor Amy McNair, and we're going to do an interview format today. And before we start, I really would like to thank Dr. Chen Chaoyang for translating this book, all the efforts that she has put into the work. Made this work a really great job, in my opinion, in my biased opinion. We also like to thank Longmen Research Institute for the help they have provided on the way. And also on behalf of Zhao Yi, who also participated in this project, we want to say that this not only allows us to learn a lot about translating academic work, but also helps us a lot for the research project that we are doing on our own in this program. So next, I would like to introduce Dr. Amy McNair. She is a beloved professor of art history at the University of Kansas. She has been joining the university since 1992. So she has been here for 18 years. And then she graduated from the University of Chicago with Father Van der Stappen.
Good.
And her previous book is also translated into Chinese, and it's The Upright Brush, and in Chinese it's translated as 中正之笔. And now this is her second book that was translated into Chinese. Her third book is a English translation of 宣和画谱 from the classical Chinese into English.
Well, thank you, Pinyan. That was a really beautiful introduction. And I'm glad that you managed to get in there, that you and Zhao were responsible for translating a lot of my book. And I felt bad at the time offering you guys up to do that, but I think you learned a lot, right?
Yes, it's a great opportunity.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. I am going to share the screen and show, here's what I want to start with. I want to show the two different covers. I think this is so interesting. It's kind of an American perspective and a Chinese perspective on Longmen and on Buddhism and on publishing and all that sort of thing. On the left, this is the Chinese cover. I was not consulted for how to design this. But I'll tell you what, I wasn't really consulted for the design of the American book either.
Right.
Yeah, but you see the difference, right?
So one is the main statue is chosen, the other one is a flanking bodhisattva.
Yeah. So to me, now Pinyan, correct me if I'm wrong, to me this means that for a Chinese audience, they want to see that iconic image of Longmen. The iconic image of Longmen, which is the Vairocana. Mm-hmm. For an American audience, particularly for that press, University of Hawai'i Press, they specialize in books on Buddhism. So they don't think that an American audience is going to need to see that iconic image of Longmen to recognize what's going on. They want you to think Buddhism. The Vairocana is certainly a compelling figure, but it isn't as detailed. It doesn't have the anatomy. You know, the beauty of early Tang sculpture is seen in that bodhisattva. So for an American audience, you want beautiful art, you want something that says Buddhism. I feel like for a Chinese audience, you want the iconic image of Longmen because everyone already knows it, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, you had some questions that you wanted to ask.
Yes. The first question I would ask you is, why are the Longmen grottos one of the so-called 4 great grottos in China? In other words, what is so important about this site?
I think I love your question because I'll tell you, when I was your age, there were not 4 great grotto sites. No, there were 3. There was the Yungang, which we're looking at here. There was Dunhuang, which was all the rage, you know, when I was your age. And Longmen, this idea of 4 is new to me. Yeah, so I actually Googled it because I was intrigued to learn what you were talking about. Mm-hmm. And do you know there seems to be a little bit of controversy about that?
I did not know.
Okay, so here's obviously number 1, Yungang has to be part of it. Mm-hmm. And of course, Yungang is wonderful site. It's beautifully maintained. It's pretty easy to get there from Datong. The sculpture is right out front. You can see everything really well. It's a wonderful experience. Okay. Dunhuang. A little more challenging to get there, but much older stuff. And if you love painting, if you are interested in mural painting, this is the place. All right, yeah. One site I looked at said that one of the four was Maijishan. Now, to me, Maijishan is very intriguing. Here's a detail on the left, beautiful sculpture. However, I think it's difficult to get there. I think it's difficult to see things there. I don't think it's as accessible as it could be. Not that I need it to be overdeveloped. I don't. Can you guess what the other option is for the fourth great cave?
I'm gonna guess the Chongqing Baodingshan Dazu.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So it depends on which website you consult. I like the Maijishan sculpture, but does it really show us anything that you couldn't see at Dunhuang? That would be my question. Mm-hmm. Whereas Baodingshan, extremely different. Also, I don't know how you could pick 4 sites in China and not include Sichuan in some way. Don't you want a little balance? Get a little of the Southwest in there? Anyway, so to answer your question, these are all wonderful sites and they all have something unique. And I think Longmen has something unique. It has a unique setting. The site, the place is unique. It was a kind of a special spiritual place even before Buddhism came to it. And it has sculpture that is world class, that is found in every textbook that is on Chinese art everywhere. So it has special things, but I think these other ones have special things too. So we can't say one is best, but we should probably go to all 4, right?
Yes. Okay. Then the next question is, what can one learn from reading your book about the donors of Longmen?
Yeah. Okay. To me, truly, the special thing about Longmen is that there are so many inscriptions. Mm-hmm. And that means the people who paid for these grottos, paid for these sculptures, dedicated them in words that were carved into the stone that are still there today. And that makes it different than the other sites. You probably know at Yungang there are maybe 24 inscriptions, not much at all there. So that allows us to have a lot of speculation about who the donors are. But at Longmen, we have nearly 3,000 inscriptions that tell us who these people were, why they made things, when they made them, identify the iconography, talk about their hopes and dreams. And, we hear quite a lot about their relationships with each other and their beliefs. And that's, to me, is what is uniquely terrific about Longmen. And that is what you would learn if you read my book. So if you read it, you would learn more about that, more than if you just went there and looked at an inscription. I think it would be hard to decipher. Some of them are even difficult just to see.
So on the personal level, among so many interesting academic topics, why did you choose Longmen? Mm-hmm.
Oh, before I answer that question, I had one more thing I wanted to say about Longmen. It's the only site that is also important to the history of calligraphy. Right. My interest in calligraphy is also satisfied by working on this site because all of these wonderful Northern Way inscriptions were of great interest to later people, not only for the content, which is mainly what I focus on, but also for the artistic quality. So I wanted to show you that as a reminder how important this site is in terms of the history of calligraphy, as well as the history of sculpture and the history of Buddhism. Okay, now I'm going to answer your question. Well, back when I was your age, I was in a seminar on Buddhist sculpture with Father Vanderstappen, and I needed to come up with a topic. And I didn't know very much about it. And somehow I was looking through journals, and you see that would have been back in 1984 or something. And you can see this article was new back then, 1980. This person named Zhang Ruyu wrote this wonderful article that I somehow stumbled across that absolutely opened my eyes to what was interesting about Buddhist sculpture, because a little confession here, I wasn't that interested in Buddhist sculpture. I was having a hard time getting excited about the topic of the seminar. You know how that goes sometimes. And then I read this and I thought, this is great. And what Zhang reads the text of the stele and corrects some earlier mistakes by Japanese scholars and that kind of thing. But what he did was showed that Li Tai, who was Taizong's third son, was actually engaged in a project of refurbishing these Pinyan grottos in order to, in honor of his late mother, in order to gain favor with his father. It was all about politics. So suddenly I was really interested. A wonderful article, really, really enjoyed it. And it completely gave me something to be excited and passionate about in terms of Buddhist sculpture. Now, understand, since then I have come to love Buddhist sculpture for all of its qualities. But at that time, yeah, politics. I thought, oh, politics. I understand that.
So the next question is, what is your personal favorite cave and highlight and why?
Okay, this is the most challenging question that you posed to me. And I was able to narrow it down to two. Okay, here's the first one. Okay, I love, on the left here, I love Huijians shrine. This man was a very important, powerful abbot at a monastery in Chongqing, and he was involved in the making of the Vairochana image as a spiritual advisor to Emperor Gaozong and Empress Wu. And he had his own shrine made there, obviously at the same time as the other one. And I love two things about his shrine. First of all, I love that it is Indianizing. I love that the face is supposed to look Indian. I love that the throne, the back of the throne behind him has Indian elements, the sun and the moon, and it has jewels and Violica and other Indian creatures on it. So I love that it's a Chinese idea of India. Very, very cool. The other thing I love about it is, look at the face. They're very similar, aren't they? I feel like Huijian told the sculptors, make the face of my Buddha look like the face of the Vairochana. And see, that's what the donors is all about. The donors have relationships with each other. And so this man, who was a spiritual advisor to the royal couple, chose to have his statue have the same look. So interesting. Okay, that's one. I said I get to choose two. So here's my other one. The King Uddiyana Buddha figures. Yeah. Again, I love these because they are Indianizing. They somehow look like figures from Sarnath in India, maybe by way of Southeast Asia. I don't know. There are about 100 of these at the site. They're all the same. They all look the same. They're all the same size. They were all done in the same 30-year period. They are an extraordinary mystery, a unique iconography seen only in this area. And I just love them. They're just like a little mysterious thing that happens there. And you're walking along and they just start popping up. And there's dozens of them. And then you start looking for them and they're here and there and everywhere. So that's my other favorite experience.
I like those Uddiyana figures too. Then if like someone like in Luoyang, or if I in the future I were to endure the sun and heat and went to Longmen, what should I be looking for?
Yeah, I've spent many summer days there, and you are not kidding. I would back in the old days, when I would write notes on a notebook. I would be standing, trying not to be in the sun, but standing there, and I'd be trying to make notes in my notebook, and the sweat would come down to the point of my chin and drip onto the book. So yes, you have to, you will pay a little bit of a price to go there. Now, why? Why do you want to go to the site? Because it is an amazing site that has its own feel. This is what my teacher, Father Vandersteppen, would call the organic feel. You have to have the feel for the place. It is a special site with a special aura, with the river and the cliffs and the hills, all of that. It has a special spiritual vibration there that you want to feel. You want to feel the history of it, that you could be standing on a very piece of rock that Empress Wu herself once stood on. That's pretty exciting, right? And the site, to understand the site, you have to think about how it works together. That's why I showed you the picture of, here, I'll go back. See, those work together. And I can put them on the screen here together and you see the relationship there. But when you're there and you move from one to the next, you feel it. So the reason to go is because you want to experience that site yourself, moving through it, being there, and in some way to replicate the experience of all the people that have come there from the year 494 on up to today.
Okay, about the tourist photos. So I noticed that, and I really love that photo you included in your book of two forests dressed in costume in front of Royal China. I wonder, why did you include that, and how do you understand those?
Don't you just love them? You are not the first person to comment on that photograph. Right. Everybody falls in love with that photograph. And I fell in love with them when I was there. They were there having their picture taken by a professional photographer. And so we asked if we could take their picture too. And they were happy to. They were happy to have the foreigners take their picture also. And I was using black and white film at the time, and that's why it looks so old fashioned, but this is 1999 when this picture was taken. Okay, I'll tell you why. Because my purpose in writing my book was to bring the site to life, to let the donors speak. And those two people are alive, and they're dressed in Tong costume. So in my imagination, there they are. They are the donors. They are the donors of Longmen. They are there experiencing and enjoying the site and making it alive. And don't you just love them? I have no idea who they are, but they are so perfect, aren't they? And I want to ask you, do people your age know how to pose like that anymore? You know, don't they look like movie stars? She's got her hand up there in that very elegant gesture, and he's got his jaw up there like he's a hero in a movie. And they're both beautiful young people, aren't they? I mean, they're so pretty, and they're just like perfect, just perfect. So to me, they are the donors of Longmen.
Last question. I wonder if you have observed how the contemporary tourist experience at Longmen changed, and how do you understand how tourism and the ancient heritage site interacts?
Well, tourism at Longmen has changed since I started going there. So this picture is 1999, and there was still a vendor there who could set up his shop and have people take pictures, and there were all kinds of things going on there. There were people who would sell you fake ink rubbings of inscriptions, right? There was out in the parking lot, there was a crippled man who was writing Tong poetry on the concrete in chalk, and he had a bowl next to him, and you could give money, which is what you're supposed to do at a Buddhist site, right? You're supposed to exercise charity and get some merit. Guess what? The following year, in 2000, Longmen became a UNESCO site, and all of those signs of life, all the people selling things and begging for money and selling water and all the stuff that goes on at a Buddhist site, they were gone. Your question is, why would you go there and have your picture taken? I'm going to show you some older pictures. The one on the left, I don't know who those people are. They are labeled as national leaders. What year do you think that picture was taken?
Imagine like before 1976.
Yeah.
Could be the 60s or even the 50s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Now, see, those people don't think they're having a kitsch experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're very proud to be there. And they, to me, now correct me if I'm wrong, to me, they are standing there as if to say, this is a symbol of China, and we are the leaders, and we are in front of this symbol. Again, I go back to the cover of the Chinese version of my book. That is such an iconic symbol that I think it has greater meaning than just kitsch to have your picture taken in front of it. But maybe that's old-fashioned. Maybe these people and my couple, maybe they thought it was special and wonderful and didn't think about kitsch, but maybe someone today would. I don't know. And the other picture I wanted to show you is this one on the right. This was taken by John Strong in 1972 when he was taken to Longmen. So this was a rare American visitor who was invited to China in 1972, very early, right? And one of the things that because he's a scholar of Buddhism, one of the things that his hosts did was to take him to Longmen. So it was obviously very meaningful, not only to him, but they knew it would be meaningful to anybody that they took there, that this would be an important thing to do. I'm giving you those pictures to show you that I think there was pretty serious intent in photographing the site back in the day. But Pinyan, I did bring you some, what I think truly is kitsch. Are you ready?
All right, please. Fantastic. Olympic?
Yeah, Beijing Olympic Advertising Company. This was a billboard that was up, I don't remember if it was in Luoyang or if it was in Beijing, but there's Mount Rushmore, right? There's, Thomas Jefferson and all that. And then there's our Vairochna. And there's me down in the corner looking up and thinking, what in the world? I'd be interested to know what you think is going on there. I think it means Chinese monuments are world monuments.
When my father visited here, I mean, the only site that he really know and then wanted to go is Rushmore.
Perfect, right? It's like the iconic, colossal American statue. And now we have added to it the iconic, colossal Chinese statue. All right, do you have any other questions?
That's all my question. Thank
Okay,
you for talking with me.
My pleasure. Thank you for talking with me. And hello to everybody in China. And thanks a bunch.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.